What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about going over everything about this Batman game, talking about the key dates maybe to keep in mind going forward over the next couple weeks or the next couple months. This is trying to really put all things together. Really, honestly, for a lot of the newer people, a lot of the people that I get so many questions every single time on these videos, and I honestly appreciate every single one of them. You guys truly, truly rock. It's so great to see a lot of people returning and a bunch of new people in general. And with that comes a lot of confusion, and honestly, that's completely expected. That's completely normal, and I want to try to do my part to help you guys out as best I can. So again, I want to kind of go over what we know, what's going on in the future, in as layman's terms as I can, not assuming that you guys know anything. Really, really quickly, before I do that, you guys came out in massive numbers to support us on Discord and on Twitter when I asked you guys to do that a couple days ago, and I greatly appreciate it. I want to ask you guys one more favor. Again, we have a lot of newer people here, a lot of people that maybe have first-time subscribers over the last couple days or weeks. I actually have a second YouTube channel, okay? I'll leave the link for that in the description below. It's the same-ish kind of thing as Podcast Now. I just do additional videos, talk about gaming news, talk about just games that release in general. So there'll be a lot of videos there as well that maybe I can't even use or can't cover on this channel. So if you guys I would greatly appreciate if you guys check that channel out, subscribe to it. And many of you already have, and I really do appreciate you guys have done a phenomenal job. Okay, all of that's out of the way. Let's go over again what we know, what's going to be going on here, and again, assuming that we're all kind of starting from the beginning. So I guess the first thing to say is this Batman game exists, right? That's the first thing I do want to make very, very clear. The game exists. The game has been in the works for a long time, okay? Now, going back to when the Damian Wayne, the Arkham Legacy, right, when that was canceled, which I believe that was around October, when the news came out, that game was canceled, people freaked out. People are still freaking out, and I'm going to get to the Warner Bros. Tweet because I think there's a lot of confusion there over the past couple days since I've made that video. A lot of confusion, a lot of people coming out to kind of discredit it for some reason, but I'm going to discuss that in a second. But again, it's all kind of not really knowing how timelines work. I really do feel like that's what's going on big time in this Arkham community. And I'm not naming names. I'm literally just saying, from what I've seen across comments, across Twitter, across the internet, there's a lot of confusion. Just because the Damian Wayne game, the news came out that it was canceled back in October, does not mean that's when it was canceled, okay? Because ultimately, it's not. You look at all the rumors, you look at all the leaks that this game, look, whether it's been delayed because of what's happened around the world recently, right? Whether it's been delayed out of fall 2020 into like early 2021 or not, no matter what, the game's been in the works for several years. They didn't just start it in October. They didn't just start it 2 weeks ago and then they did this Twitter post to say, hey, don't ask for it because we literally just started it up. We're going to, it'll be out in like 4 years from now. No, the game has been in the works for a long time. That Damian Wayne game was canceled years and years ago. And I'm going to assume, and this is my assumption, that they took a lot of that stuff and injected it into the new game. So basically what I'm saying is they didn't start this game that we now know of, whatever you want to call it, Arkham 2020, new Batman game, whatever you want to call it. They didn't literally start from nothing. I really do think they used, and I mean like mechanics, I mean engine, I mean stuff like that. They used, I believe, a lot of the Damian Wayne game in it. Okay, so that's something that you really need to keep in mind going forward, and I do think it's important. I really do, because I feel like this game, and I feel like we will eventually learn this. Somebody somewhere will say it, or even when they start giving interviews with the people that work there, all that kind of stuff. Eventually, we'll know when the game started in development. In fact, we may know day one when they first do the trailer. Maybe IGN, Kotaku, GameSpot, somebody's going to interview somebody, and they're going to say, "Yeah, development started 3 years ago." Literally that'll just happen. That'll just come out in some interview, and then all of us that have been saying that, which there hasn't been many, it's really just me, will have been proven right, okay? And again, that's not like a gloating, that's not like an ego thing, but that's something very, very much to keep in mind. I believe that, and I think even different leaks and rumors have said this, that the Arkham Legacy, Damian Wayne, whatever you want to call it, that game was probably canceled around 2017, maybe early 2017. I think they've been making this game, the one that we know, for at least 3 full years, okay? 3 3 full years. That's why I think it is ready to go either the fall. And again, if it's been delayed because, and we've heard it multiple times from different game developers, it takes the last little while of the game development time. It's very important. It can literally make or break a game. So I do understand that there's important things that happen at the very end. They're not out of the woods yet. They're not literally done. They're not finished with the game, but they're almost there. They're literally like they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is what I tell a lot of you guys too, right? When it's coming. All right, let's move on. Part 2 of this. Let's talk about the tweet really fast. And then I want to go over the Jeff Keighley Gamescom thing because I see so many. Well, let me do that first. I see so many people asking me, when is the game getting announced? When is Warner Bros. Doing their event? The easy answer is, 1, we don't know, right? There's no official date. But 2, let's go over once more what this Summer Games Fest is. Jeff Keighley has this umbrella, okay? And it's called Summer Games Fest. And everything underneath it is individually run by whoever, okay? So Inside Xbox, they win. That's Microsoft. That's Inside Xbox. Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest was the sponsor, the host, the umbrella. I've used all these phrases before, and I think, again, they're very important to keep in mind. He is literally the umbrella over it, where they're all like part of the festival, but he's not controlling it. He's not telling them when to go. He's not telling them, oh, you need to show this, you need to show that. Okay, again, very important to keep that stuff in mind. Inside Xbox. Now, the Tony Hawk game, when they did the Pro Skater, that was literally a Games Fest thing because that was like a Summer Games Fest exclusive. Okay, that's different. Warner Bros.'s event. Okay, that is their own. Warner Bros. Is going to have their own event, and that'll be their own thing. Now, will it necessarily be an event? No, I've always said it's going to be, and I still think it is. But even Jeff Keighley has said, hey, some of these publishers are going to go multiple times. They're going to go throughout the summer, and maybe they're just going to go on a game-to-game basis. We've heard Square Enix, and we've heard Bethesda both literally say that they're not going to do a show. They're not going to do, the normal hour-long E3 show. But if they have announcements, like Square Enix is going to have the Avengers, right? They'll be talking about that, the beta. They're going to do announcements on a game-to-game basis, and it could be whenever. Again, though, we have phases. So far, we know Phase 1. We know the picture of Phase 1. We know the publishers on Phase 1. And what do we know about that? Well, Gamescom, which Jeff Keighley is heavily promoting, that is at the end of August. I believe August 24th through the 27th, or maybe the 27th through 30th. It's somewhere around that time. Very late August. That is the end of Summer Games Fest, okay? That is literally the conclusion. There's gonna be more than one phase. We know that. How many phases? We don't know, okay? I've always said 3. I think it could be right now through end of June is Phase 1. Phase 2 could be July, and Phase 3 could be August. It's also possible there's only 2 phases. It could be possible that this phase goes to late June, and then there's a phase that's July through August, and literally that's it, okay? That's like the only thing that happens. So I think it's either going to be 2 or 3 phases, but if you notice what I just said, I really do think Phase 1 ends at the end of June, okay? Because Ubisoft is not, that Ubisoft Forward, their online show, July 12th, is not part of Phase 1, and Jeff Keighley has said that. In fact, it's not even, as of right now, part of Summer Games Fest, okay? So I think Phase 1 ends at the end of June. Now, why did I say that whole thing? Well, hopefully you guys were hanging on to that because, again, very, very important. Warner Bros. Is on that list. Warner Bros. Is on Phase 1. So when are they going to go? They're going to go in Phase 1. When's Phase 1? From now till the end of June. I personally think this is like a mid to late June, like somewhere around, maybe around where E3 normally would be, but if not, right after. I know a lot of people want it at Sony's things, right? Sony is probably going to do something. Well, we know June 2nd, they're going to have the official PlayStation magazine. They're going to announce a bunch of games there, but again, that's just words. It's just pictures. You literally don't get anything from that. Like, I guess, well, you do. You get a lot, but you don't get the most amount of stuff. A lot of people, in fact, there has been leaks and rumors, right, where actually June 4th, Sony's going to do an event and they're going to show PlayStation games. Could it be there? I guess, but it really seems like it's more geared towards Sony exclusives, okay? Sony exclusives. So I think, and at this point, we've done this probably 100 times, right, over the last year. I really have never felt more confident in saying Warner Bros. Is probably going to go on their own, okay? They're going to announce Batman. They're going to announce Rocksteady. They're going to announce Harry Potter. They're not going to give that to a different publisher. Okay, so when it comes to Inside Xbox, to which, or even the game reveal, right, which I've said for both of those, I don't think Batman's going to be there. In fact, I told you, that's literally my opinion. Anybody that says that's not my opinion doesn't watch the videos and are just liars, okay? I've said for both of those that it's not going to happen. And let me make very clear right now, I really just don't think so, okay? For any of these. So if Inside Xbox say they do something June 5th, I don't think it's going to be there, okay? This literally goes for anything that could possibly happen. I think we're going to get it at Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Is going to announce, hey, we're going to have a game announcement, or hey, we're going to do an online show. Again, it doesn't have to be an online show. That's why I led with that. They could very well say, I don't know, just give a date, May 27th. They could say, join us tomorrow for a exclusive, like, brand new game reveal, okay? And again, it'll be under Summer Games Fest. They're the promoter, they're the host, they're the sponsor, whatever word you want to use, but it's Warner Bros., okay? So you're looking for Warner Bros. Keep your eye, and which people have, and Warner Bros. Even tweeted, right? It said, like, the game's ramping up, those little jokesters, them, right? They are very aware, okay? They're very aware of what's going on. They're going to be doing something very, very soon. So again, when's it going to be? Not necessarily sure, but I'm going to say before the end of June, which even if you want to go back to those leaks that I didn't even say, I actually said I didn't really believe them. They even said, like, hey, they're going to announce it before the end of June. They're going to announce it in early June. All those kind of things floating around. Again, you just throw dates out there and eventually you're going to be right. But I really do think we're literally within 6 weeks or less, in fact, probably less, to getting this reveal. Okay, what we're going to see in that reveal, all that stuff we've talked about in the past, I don't want to get into right now. Final thing is I want to address that Twitter, the actual tweet from Warner Bros. Montreal. All right, I do not take, and people have, and I really don't get why, I really don't take that tweet as, hey, we're going to go dark and we're not going to talk about it for like years, okay? Like, don't expect anything soon. I've seen numerous comments. I've seen other people say it in general that, hey, stop getting your hopes up because now they've basically confirmed, we're not talking about it for a very, very long time. No, I mean, could you think that? Sure. And am I going to tell you you're wrong? No, I'm not. I'm going to tell you my impressions, my opinion. And that's all I've ever done, okay? I've only ever told you how I see it. I do not believe that at all. I do not think that is what they were going for. That's not how I read it. Okay, now again, if you did read it that way, that's fine. That's totally cool. We've had our differences of opinions numerous times, right? If you want to believe me, you can. If you don't, that's fine. How I read it, one more time, I see it as, look, you're not going to come here for the game reveal, okay? We're not going to just post tomorrow Batman Arkham whatever, or whatever you want to call the Batman game. We're not just going to post it, okay? It's not going to just be on our Twitter tomorrow, the next day, whatever. You're going to have to go somewhere else. Now, did they say that? No, they didn't. But what they did say is, we know you're pumped about this, which, by the way, why in God's name would they acknowledge that now? Why did they choose now to do that? Again, why did they choose now to start promoting the people that work for them? I think these are all things that I've talked about in the last 2 videos and people just really aren't thinking about. Why acknowledge it now? Why wouldn't you have acknowledged it in December with the Game Awards? Remember how upset people were at the Game Awards? We were upset. We made videos. We made pretty big videos, and people were pretty livid. And did they say anything? No. They kept their mouth shut. In fact, they weren't even on social media. They didn't come back alive till January to start teasing it. By the way, that's another thing. I really think they're done with the teasers. I really don't think they're doing that anymore, and that's a complete disaster and failure in its own right. But that's just an aside. But why wouldn't they have done it there? Well, an easy answer would be, well, it was never planned to. Now, again, like, I was part of it. A lot of people were part of it. Like, we got ourselves too into it, and flat out, we were wrong. It was not at the Game Awards, and you could say, well, was it supposed to be, and was it pushed out? It may have been. We ultimately don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day. But if the plan all along was to do it at E3, and if we go by Jason Schreier, that was the plan. If it was to go at E3, then yeah, they're not going to acknowledge us back in December because they're not going to do it for another 6 months. So why would they do anything? Why choose? Think logically. Why choose now? Why would they have picked now to come out and say, we hear you, and we're going to start showing you the people that work for us? Why? Again, do we care? No, not really. We don't care. I think we will care, and if the game's good, and if we see, because that's, again, I think I said that in that video, but let me re-say it. If the game sucks, are you going to remember these people's names? Are you going to care about these people? Again, not in a malicious way. Like, everybody's equal, and we all are supposed to care about each other in like a larger scope, right? You know know, like, that part is fine. But I mean, like, are you gonna really care about these people's names and their what they do for the company, all that stuff, if the game's terrible? Or if the game, maybe actually you would if it's terrible, right? Because you'd hold them accountable. If the game's like average and it just comes and goes, do we really care? No. If the game is really good, if we see it and we're like, oh my God, like, we need to know who is responsible for making this masterpiece or this atrocity, right? We need to know who's responsible for it. That's why you do it. Ultimately, that's why all these game developers do it. So again, why pick now to acknowledge us? Why? Why pick now to start showing us who's making games? What does it matter if your game isn't coming? That's the final thing. Again, the people saying, like, stop getting your hopes up, they're not announcing it for like another year or two. Then why are they telling us who's working on it? Why would they show us the people that are working on their game right now if they're not going to announce it for another year? What if they quit? What if they get fired? What if something happens in the studio? Why would you even do that, right? People go in and out of studios all the time. I mean, not necessarily all the time. It also depends on the studio, but so many things can happen, okay? So again, I really just don't subscribe to that at all. The game's real. The game is being announced very soon. They acknowledged us. They're showing us the people that are working on their game. Why? Because they're announcing it very, very soon. They're not letting this go further. I really can't even fathom a world where we go past Summer Games Fest and it's not there. Okay? Again, Warner Bros. Is on their Phase 1. Why are they on Phase 1? To give the official release date for Lego Star Wars? Is that it? I don't think so. Is it to, I don't know, promote Cyberpunk 2077? Maybe, but CD Projekt Red is also on that list, and that's obviously what they're doing. For some reason, they've doubled that up. Now, again, I think that's because CD Projekt Red for Phase 1, that's Cyberpunk. Connect that literally with a line to Cyberpunk. Warner Bros. Don't connect it, okay? They'll talk about it, and I'm sure that'll be, obviously, in terms of like a publishing push, they'll push the game for September, but why are they on Phase 1? It's not for Cyberpunk, okay? That's why CD Projekt Red is there. They are on there for Batman, for Rocksteady, for Harry Potter, okay? I think that was pretty darn good. I feel like I've explained everything there kind of is to explain. Let me know, as always, though, guys, what you think. If you have any questions, anything like that, in the comments below. I can, follow this up with something else over the next coming days. And obviously, things are picking up very, very fast. So if there's anything big, I'll obviously be covering it. There'll be Batman videos every couple days on the channel. And just buckle up, because when we get this announcement that Warner Bros. Is going, it's going to be fast and furious. It's going to be very, very awesome. And I'm very, very excited to get going. Again, thank you all so much for watching. All of the support you guys have given me for the longest time. For all the new people, for all the older people, you guys absolutely rock. We've been in this journey together. For either a little bit of the time or the whole time or some of the time, we've all been in it, and we're finally going to get rewarded. It feels really, really good. Okay, so thank you all again so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.